Hello, hello. All right, let me just check the setup on here. Doo-doo. Oh, come on, why isn't it working? Okay, all right. Well, for some reason, once again, I can't see it, so I'm going to do this instead. Um, okay, that'll just have to do. Once again, I cannot get the live on my computer to show me what I'm looking like. So let's just go for it. So today I'm excited to talk to you all about fear. And I'm sure a lot of you are curious, why on earth would I want to cultivate fear? That sounds like a terrible idea. And I will get to that. First, I wanted to introduce myself. I am Carolyn LaRue. I am a certified heartwork journaling coach, which is a form of life coaching that is new, and it really brings together basic doodling, basic drawings, and it uses creativity and play to really take this learning and take this work deeper and really embed it in our memories. Heartwork journaling brings in a whole bunch of different tools. It uses mindfulness, it uses cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, and it uses a lot of other tools like journaling. And I'm super excited. So why do an emotional download? We so want to avoid uncomfortable feelings, and we will do things like numb, we'll scroll on our phones, we'll I don't know, sometimes some people have a sugar addiction or an eating addiction or a relationship addiction or it's trying to fill that void with everything else. And the reason why we do that is because we're trying to avoid negative feelings. And when we can learn to sit in our negative feelings or negative and ask our body, what are you trying to tell me? Because our body is trying to tell us something that we need to hear. It might be telling us that we have a boundary we have to set to keep ourselves safe. It might be telling us that we're doing something too much, or that a person is not safe to have a relationship with. And it's really important that we listen in and trust our body, because our bodies are built to feel. Our feelings cannot hurt us. What can end up hurting us is us avoiding and our thoughts about our fear and our thoughts about our feelings. But the feelings in of themselves cannot hurt you. They can feel terrible, but they can't hurt you. I invite you all to embark on this journey with me. I know that fear is uncomfortable, and I want you to have a think about, when I'm feeling fear, what sensations do I have in my body? What am I feeling? What's my body telling me? It might be like a shakiness, or like I find that when I'm in fear, usually my head feels like a bit airy, and my hands and my feet get hot and sweaty, and I get jittery. Sometimes I even get a little bit of a tremble. But it's usually this uncomfortable, vibrating kind of sensation in my body. And I invite you to explore, what thoughts are you thinking? Like, For example, it might be thoughts like, nobody's going to like me, or I can't do this. This is new and scary, or what are people going to think of me? I'm going to be rejected. And I also I invite you to think about, what colors do you associate with fear? So for me, fear is like a vibrant red, kind of like a vibrant blood red, and maybe like a fluoro green, and like a lot of dark, moody, cloudy, a lot of darkness. And so the reason why we're bringing together the creativity and play, and I'm bridging the gap, talking about all of this like emotional, deeper work, and like overcoming fear, and how to stop numbing, and all of these kinds of things, and linking that then to fluid art, is when we use creativity and play, it is so much more effective. It takes 200 to 400 repetitions of a thought to turn it into a neuron, to turn it into a memory. Whereas when we use creativity and play, and we activate more parts of our brain in the process, it actually only takes 10 to 20 repetitions. So when I'm thinking the thoughts, so words are only, I think it's 7% of communication, and then another 40 odd percent is the tone of voice, and the rest is got to do with the experience. So it's what we see, what we feel. So when we bring in our bodies, so we bring in our right brain, which is our logic, we bring in our left brain, which is our creative side, and then we bring in our body by feeling it, by feeling the feelings in our body, and by using our body to get it out of us. And it's really powerful. It's really powerful and transformational, and it really helps us integrate the healing that can take so much work. Okay. All right. Now, I have a couple of props today. So I wanted to share, once again, I can't see myself, so I hope that this shows up. So the way that I was taught how to deal with problems is by blaming, criticizing, judging, and it's the other people. If the other people would only be different, if the other people would only do this thing, if the other people would only stop doing this thing, then I would be happy. And it's their fault. And the problem with this is that they're doing the same thing to us. I don't know if you've ever noticed that when somebody blames you for something, you get straight into defensiveness, and then you just want to attack them back and be like, well, wait a minute, what about your side of the street? So this way is fear-based, and it leads to a lot of pain and a lot of broken relationships. And I want to introduce you to another alternative. So this version is love-based, where we stop looking at each other and we stop playing a victim role, and we step into ownership of what is my part. I take responsibility for my role, and I collaborate and work with the people around me to come up with better solutions. So when we wanting to shift into this, we can practice thoughts like, we're on the same team here. Like we're on the same team. Let's work together. Or how can we look at this issue differently? Because usually it's all a matter of perspective. And something I found in my own personal work is that when I've worked through conflict with other people, I actually find that the bigger the conflict or the scarier I find them, the more we are actually needing the same thing. So we're both needing connection, but we both have different strategies or ideas about what that should look like. And we're both going about it in different ways, or we have a need for something else or for safety. But the other person's version of safety seems really scary to me, and same vice versa. I also wanted to introduce, so something that we tend to do is that instead of allowing our fear, we resist it, we push it away, we numb. And when we resist, what happens is our fear grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because our body is trying to tell us something. It's trying to say, hey, look at me. There's a problem here. There's something going on here. And when we ignore it and push it away and numb and turn to our phone or turn to social media or turn to, I don't know, having a drink or something, then that voice has to get louder for us to be able to hear it. It's like, this thing that I'm afraid of hasn't gone away, but now you're putting your head in the sand. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And numbing just, it doesn't work. So what do we do next? So we can, how do we allow the feeling of fear? First, we notice what's happening, we notice what's in our body, what is happening in our lives that is in the situation when I'm feeling fear. We observe, what are the thoughts that I'm thinking, what scenario is happening, what could be causing this? And we observe with compassion, because it's okay that I'm feeling this way. It's okay that this is coming up for me. We describe how it feels, so getting clear about what the sensations feel like in my body, and asking our bodies. We can trust our bodies to tell us, because our bodies already know. Our inner wisdom already knows. And to practice this skill, get good at sitting with fear, even if it's only like a couple of minutes, even if it's only 5 minutes. Get comfortable sitting in fear and learning that, it's okay. Because when we let fear in and we stop fighting it, it becomes right size. We see it for what it is. And we realize, oh, it's actually not that big a deal. I can just do these changes and that's fix the problem. Or, it returns to being right sized. And this is huge. I also invite you to, when you're doing something scary or something new, it's important that we acknowledge that fear is there. Fear is riding with me in the car right now. I'm not going to let it take the driver's seat. I'm not going to let it turn us around and hide in our cave. I'm not going to let it tell me to not come out and not turn on the live. But I am going to acknowledge that, I'm feeling fear right now. And that's okay. And it can be in the car and I can still be safe and I can still live and do life. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Courage is fear that said its prayers." There is no courage without fear. So live courageously. So speaking of courage, last week we did the emotion of courage. And this is the tile of how it came out. I think it's beautiful. It's nice and bold and bright. And so let's go down and start painting. Okay, so I have got my This is my pillow paint. Okay. So, oh, I forgot to show you what my colors are. So we have a pouring medium of Mars Black. I wanted to have extra black today. Otherwise I don't normally make black into a pouring medium. And then I've got a little bit of the orange from yesterday. I don't want much of this, just a little bit. And I'm using the red violet with the TLP Sangria. So once again, I don't want too much of this. And then last but not least is this beautiful rich red. This is crimson red, and I added some fluoro red to it as well to really bring it home. And I wanted to do a bit more black. It's a bit of a hot mess this time. And then on top of that, I'm going to use a black cell activator. I want it to be really moody and dark. So this is Amsterdam lamp black. And today I feel like doing, I'll just pop a couple of these bubbles. I don't actually mind there being some bubbles today though. I think that it kind of goes well. I'm actually kind of hoping I'll have some white pop up. All right, let's go for it. All right, what bits do I like? What bits do I not like? Changed my mind. I actually am quite liking that top bit now. Now that I've spun half of it off. Well, not half. Just scooping some of this up so that we don't end up with paint flying through my house. I decided not to go with fluoro green and red, just pick one or the other. Ooh, looks like we've got a gooby goober here. Get out of there. We got some bubbles. Normally I'd be trying to push the bubbles back down, but I don't think I will this time. I think that they fit. I'm liking the smoky look that we've got going in here. So next week I will not be doing another live because I will be in Texas at the Fluid Art Experience. I'm going to be a TA for Jessica Winterstrom. She is the marvelous fluid artist who she builds these spinners, and they're specifically for fluid art. You can always use a cake spinner, but these ones are great because they're like specifically meant for it. And I'm going to be doing not one but 2 presentations at the Fluid Art Experience. I'm so stoked. I'm really excited about it. This was a little bit of a sneak peek to some of the content that I'm going to be covering in my talk. And if you're going to be at the Fluid Art Experience, I highly recommend that if you're going to be there on the Sunday and you're going to come to my presentation in the lunch break, please go to my website, goldenfluidart.com, and download the Overcoming My Greatest Fear worksheet. See if there's, let's try and really get some of this paint off to make sure that it's gonna stay how I want it. If you leave too much paint on the canvas or the tile in this case, you'll end up with wonky cells. So these beautiful patterns and designs in here, they'll all warp, they won't hold, and you'll get more of the cell activator will sink to the bottom. And you won't have that crisp definition. I mean, a few things can cause those things to happen, but having thick paint is definitely one of the things that causes that. Alright, I think that that's about it. I am sad that we lost so much. I really liked some of what was happening, but I'd much prefer that than to lose all of it because I didn't take enough paint off. Actually, I really like how the magenta is coming up looking kind of pink in there. It's kind of intriguing. It kind of looks like a scary animal, a scary monster coming out. Alright, I think that's it, folks. There it is. Don't know if you can really see. So we are done. I hope you enjoyed Cultivating Fear and enjoyed the artwork. I'm curious to hear if that makes sense to people, if people are curious or want to know more about it, or if people don't agree, please challenge me. I'd love it. And yeah, if you're wanting to hear more about what I do and how all of this works, please reach out to me. I also provide a free before and after consultation session where we basically get an emotional and mental, it's kind of like an emotional and mental physical, where you get a snapshot of where you are now and where you want to be, and then figure out what are things that we can do to put in place to get you there. Yeah, and I would just like to leave you all with the saying of courage is fear that said its prayers. So there's nothing wrong with feeling fear. What is my fear trying to tell me today? Okay, well, peace, and thank you for watching.